Hey guys, it's Seeney here, and today we're talking about how to get good lighting outside. Okay, so lighting is probably one of the most important things when it comes to video. If you have great lighting, it can bring so much into your production value, and if the lighting's not great, it can really drag it down. And sometimes when you're outside, it can be really difficult to get around the light conditions as you have the sun to deal with. So something you need to remember is that the human eye has much better dynamic range than cameras do at this current stage. Which means if you have a lot of shadows and a lot of highlights in your shot and they're really bright and really dark, chances are that you're going to lose a lot of detail in those shots. You might be able to see them really clearly with your eye, but when you put them through the camera, all the detail's gone. So there's a few different ways to get around this. So the trick is to try and get your shots as flat and as even as possible when it comes to lighting. Now, one of the ways obviously is to shoot in a log profile, so that will flatten out the highlights and also the shadows. Now, the best way to get around difficult lighting situations outside is to pick the time of day that you're shooting. For example, in the middle of the day, it's really hard to get a good lighting situation. The sun, if it's out, is usually really bright, and that means it'll blow out a lot of the highlights. There'll just be too much light. And of course, when there's a lot of light, that means if anything is blocking that sun, there's going to be really dark shadows too. So you can get around this by shooting in what we call the golden hour. Now, the golden hour is the time an hour after the sun comes up and an hour before the sun sets in the evening. At this time, the light is much more even, there's less highlights and shadows, and you have a nice golden color, hence golden hour. Now, why is this such a nice time of day to shoot? Well, it comes down to a little bit of science. So when the sun comes down and it's about to set just below the horizon, those sun's rays that are coming from the sun have a lot more atmosphere to get through, as opposed to when the sun's right above you. It's a very direct line to you. However, at that point, at the horizon, there's a lot more atmosphere for the light to get through, and that means that it gets diffused. Now, diffusion is really important because it spreads the light more evenly. And of course, because the higher frequency light waves, such as the blue, are more likely to bounce back into space, more of the red comes through and you get this nice red golden color, which makes for great footage. So that's the biggest thing. You'll see a huge difference in your videos if you shoot at golden hour compared to a regular time of day. Now, also, if it's possible and you need to shoot in the middle of the day for whatever reason, it might be an idea to try and find a day that's really overcast. Now, same thing, the clouds will diffuse that light and everything will be a lot more even. So it really takes some of the harshness out of the sun in the middle of the day and spreads that more evenly across what you're shooting. And of course, if worse comes to worse and you need to light your subject up in the middle of the day, maybe you should get hold of one of these. Now, what is this? This is basically a giant reflector. So you can take some of that sunlight and you can direct it onto your subject, which will make them lit really well, and you'll get a lot of that light source, even if the sun is not quite in the right spot. So these come in all different sizes. Mine is just below arm's width, but I've seen some of these diffuser screens that are as big as rooms. So these come in a few different colors. Silver gives you a very reflective surface to bounce light back. This also has white, which is quite reflective. And then on the other side, I have gold, which gives you a little bit more of a natural golden glow if you're trying to emulate golden hour without actually being at golden hour. So if you do a lot of shooting outside, it might be worth looking at getting a diffuser of some kind. So I hope you found some of these tips useful and these explanations useful as to how to get really great lighting outside, because it is quite challenging when you can't fully control what you're doing. So thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Seeney. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you later.